I always thought that Gary would be an inventor. I can remember him building, when I think he was 8, a push cart. The difference with everybody else's push cart and Gary's was you had to pay a quarter if you wanted to ride it.
We charged like a nickel or something to ride on it, and we were busy all the time.
Every Sunday, we got to go on a Sunday drive. And I swear to you, it was those Sunday drives that began to build the curiosity that is so much a part of who Gary is and where it took him and where it's going to continue. Anything that was being built, we were there.
Always had a curiosity. I did not do well in school, but something was mechanical. I could take it apart, and I was successful enough to be able to get it back together.
My dad and Gary came up with another opportunity for selling, and it was light bulbs. That success of Gary's, it was about being able to take an idea, expand on it, figure out how to make this work.
And the light bulb business was very interesting. After I got the kids selling them door to door, they had a commercial line of light bulbs. Actually, they were building the first Target, so I went over there. And then they'd always say, well, just a minute, and they were like smiling or chuckling. Well, I'd always close them. I'd always get them sold. I thought, geez, I got to pickle myself or something. I said, I can't ever get older because I won't be as successful. I said, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I think Gary's influence is really evident throughout the company and its history. From selling light bulbs to turning the sales of light bulbs into buying duplexes and larger projects, to then apartment projects and branching out over a number of years. But he recognized the real value that was created in being able to not just acquire or develop, but to hold for the long-term projects.
You began to see a pattern in Gary acquiring, doing the hard work, expanding, and then taking the next step.
Gary actually had formed Colonial Apartments, Inc. And then in 1979, Gary felt that the company was doing things in addition. So Gary came up with quite a mouthful. It was Colonial Services and Management, Inc. I talked Gary into changing the name. That became CSM Corporation.
Dating back to my beginnings at CSM, I think the initial phase was what I would call kind of the Gillette coal boom. And then I think the next kind of simultaneous next phase was LaBelle's.
He built on his successes, and any opportunity that was available to him, he grabbed.
I knew from the day that I joined him over at MM and I went over to CSM that I would never learn more, I would never have more fun, that those would be the most professionally rewarding years I would ever experience.
What attracted me to CSM in the first place was Gary's entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, he had a pretty good reputation in town. One of the big growth vehicles for CSM at that time was the development of the hotel business.
In 1992, we purchased the Roadstar Inn in Woodbury, Minnesota. And 15 minutes before closing on the deal, the partner called up and said he wanted to back out of the deal. So we bought this property with absolutely no knowledge of how to run a hotel. 4 telephone lines working in it, the pool didn't work, it had no air conditioning, it had no heat. We told Gary, our partners backed out of the deal, what do you want us to do? Should we just back out of the deal? He says, nope, we're gonna buy it, we're gonna succeed. And we went above and beyond Carlson Companies' expectations, and eventually we were awarded Developer of the Year by Carlson Companies, and Hospitality Magazine awarded us the remodel renovation property of the year for what we did at that Country Inn.
And in that next 10-year period that I was there, I think when I left, the company probably had, 25 or 30 hotels. The company was also very active in developing industrial property, so we developed out pretty much the Westgate property. We developed in Eden Prairie, in Chanhassen, in Oakdale.
Back in about 1990, an opportunity came up for Gary to buy Bonaventure Shopping Center. And the developer that was putting that deal together to renovate, to remodel that shopping center, for whatever reason, it was falling apart. So he came to Gary, and by the end of the year, we owned the property and we were off and running, and we totally renovated that shopping center.
Gary met Dick Schultz, and this was when Best Buy had, just changed from Sound of Music. Their big competitor nationally was a chain called Highland Electronics out of Detroit, and our objective was to sneak in that fall and open stores for Christmas, and got them open by Thanksgiving, and Best Buy did huge numbers in Milwaukee, and they're kind of off to the races on their national platform.
Another property in Denver, it was the largest building in Denver at the time that was not a skyscraper. They were losing the building to their lender, and we were able to step in, and we did that in 1995, and they're still our tenant today.
CSM has always had strong core values since the beginning and through today. My favorite core value is integrity. CSM has always had great integrity from the top, Gary Holmes, all the way down.
Now, one of the things that Gary has said over the years is ugly bedspreads cost no more than good-looking bedspreads. Ugly paint costs the same as good-looking paint.
Gary influenced the company beyond just his management control by trying to instill a certain way of thinking. I mean, Gary had kind of a motto, and in fact, I think it was painted on the transom of one of his boats on Lake Minnetonka: everybody works.
Gary has a saying, everybody works. And people will ask me many times when I go to meetings, does Gary still work? I go, he works every day. He never stops working.
We've come a long way. When I first started out, we were in the office over on University Avenue.
I think I remember 12 to 16 people being in the office and engaged in projects. Now I think we're well over 2,000 employees, multiple departments, obviously a new home in downtown Minneapolis.
So when I started the company, we didn't have email. I got to see that transition from no email to smartphone, and Gary's got an insatiable appetite for information, so it's been great from overall support.
It's pretty amazing to see the technology that CSM has embraced. When I first started, CSM on the average at a hotel site would be about 2 to 3 computers. Now we have sites like the Renaissance Depot, which has easily over 30 some odd computers over there, and that can tell you the level of support and, more importantly, the level of technology that the sites have to deal with now.
Everything went from nobody had a cell phone in their pocket to everybody has a cell phone. Everybody can make a reservation a second before you walk in the door. The needs of the traveler has changed. We've stayed up with technology that, really helped to meet those changing travelers.
So to go from the one hotel we were up over 40 hotels during this period of time has been exciting, and I've been thrilled to be part of.
Gary always said this was his giving back to the city when Gary started the Depot project.
I know Gary, when he was younger, had a love for trains, and I know just being around him that the whole historical faction of it was of great interest.
As a young boy with my parents, we used to come down through Washington Avenue, and as a lot of our historical pictures show, this was the hotbed of restaurants and bars and whatever.
This is a pretty tough area, and this project did really open up the development on this side of downtown.
That Milwaukee Road Depot complex was really the kickstart for a lot of the development on the riverfront.
You heard so many people say, oh, they just can't build them that way anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, that was never there. We added all that. Yes, you can build them anymore. You just don't have the opportunity.
We do the right thing. We build buildings right. We're going to build buildings that are going to be quality structures for the next 30, 40 years because we know in most cases we're going to hold them that long.
CSM definitely does not take shortcuts. Our mentality is pretty much a build or acquire and then we hold. And I think we do that with our physical assets as well as our personnel assets as well too.
The properties are a long-term investment and they want the people to be as well.
And there's pride in what Gary does. It really does start with him. I have tremendous respect for Gary.
It's been really, really fun to watch the growth but the culture remained the same. And I think that's what's kept me with CSM all these years.
It wasn't somebody thinking, what should our core values be? It was a function of looking at the organization and how does the organization operate and what values are reflected in that.
The company puts a lot of stress on their values, and I found it refreshing and unique.
You respect all levels. You respect your customers, you respect everybody that works for you, works with you.
It's respect for your employees, but it's also respect for the communities as a whole.
Quality. We're always leaders within our competitive set, within our hotels.
You know exactly what you're getting at every time.
Building, constructing, developing quality properties.
Integrity is at the core of everything that we do as an organization.
Integrity means doing the right thing all the time, and I think CSM does that.
It's amazing. We've been in business for 40 years, and we're still improving processes.
We are encouraged to learn new things, to go to seminars, to learn how to manage effectively.
CSM invests in communities for the long term, our hotels, our commercial properties, our apartments.
With community, I'd say every hotel I work with, it's essentially a small family.
Not only creating communities through developments, but we also give back to the community with a lot of our charitable functions.
I put our human resource people together and said, look, start a teamwork situation where we get an organization that we can help.
I'm actually part of the CSM Cares Committee. My daughter was born prematurely and had a lot of complications. So my wife utilized the Ronald McDonald House on occasion at Minneapolis Children's. So being able to be a part of CSM and work with an organization that I really truly believe in is fantastic.
Anybody in the company, if you have a lot of money or you have no money, but you have the ability to give.
And Gary has always been a part of giving back. His employees will be involved and will help.
Every time I hear about the contribution that CSM makes to the community, my heart leaps even higher than when I see the wonderful, magnificent structures that it builds.
Hearing the legacy of everything that Gary has built throughout the years is pretty remarkable.
There's been such a success rate with how Gary has set this up that the backbone structure, you always know where we're going to go, we always know how we're going to do it.
Being at CSM is one of those places, CSM is a very unique company that allows you to kind of, be who you are and showcase your talents.
What excites me most about working at CSM, I think, is the people. I just really enjoy coming to work and working with my core group of people.
It's a testament to Gary, it's a testament to everyone who's worked here at CSM, and I look forward to another 10 years or more of great times here. Thanks, Gary.
In our family, we have always been thrilled with his success, pleased with the way that he has done business, but I know that for my mom and dad in our family, the value was nobody was ever impressed. Impressed conjures up a whole different set of values. I have to tell you, on this 40th year, for me, I am mightily impressed.
He's an older businessman, but he doesn't let his child side of him go. I've never seen anybody in this world get so excited over ice cream as my dad does.
I think he holds everyone to really high standards. Even people that he doesn't know well, or he holds everyone to a really high standard, I think, because he wants them to be better.
Just because you come from something doesn't mean that you are necessarily somebody. That you need to work hard to become successful in life or to have a fulfilling life.
If he likes you, he'll be more hard on you because he wants to see you strive and he wants to see you succeed. And I mean, I got to carry that in my everyday life. He's hard on me sometimes as well, but I know for a fact that it's because he loves me and cares about me and wants to see me do good things.
Anything else you want to add?
I love you, Dad, and happy 40 years.